Okay. So the question says, D part first one, two advantages of using a store's ledger record card. So your answer was okay, but then you can write these answers also. You can write it clearly shows receipts, issues, and the running balance in separate columns. Do you know what is meant by running balance?
Yeah, it's like something similar to working capital, right?
Uh, not like that, not working capital. Running balance is the amount of money in an account after each transaction. It's the balance shown in an account after every transaction. Okay, money available in
Okay.
the account. Okay, so
Okay.
this shows ledger record card. The advantages is that it clearly shows receipts, issues, and running balance in separate columns. So column by column they will show. And the balance column tells the company when inventory levels are low and more needs to be ordered. So the balance column will show the company, like it will tell the company whether the inventory levels are low, whether we need to order more inventory, like that. Okay. And then the third point is that may reduce the possibility of fraud or theft as purchasers, issues, and balances are shown. So it may reduce the possibility of fraud or theft happening in the company, and then has purchases, issues, and balances are shown. Okay, so it will reduce the possibility of fraud or theft. So these are the advantages of using a stores ledger record card. Now let's see the disadvantages. Two disadvantages of using this stores ledger record card. So first one is the card only shows what has been issued to production, not how much inventory has been used by production. So whatever has issued to production only they have shown, not how much has been used by production. Did you understand that?
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay. Second one, the card must be kept up to date. Otherwise, inaccurate figures may be used when calculating variances. So it must be kept up to date, okay, to the latest version. If not, inaccurate figures may be used when we calculate variances. So when we calculate variances, if the figures are inaccurate, then the variance can go adverse. Did you understand that?
Yeah, understood that.
Okay, now E part. Look at E part. E part, the question says management has called a meeting to review the performance of the production department in week 41. Okay, so now the management has management has called a meeting like to review the performance of the production department, like whether they have performed well, whether they have performed badly. Okay, so now what you have to do is you have to evaluate the performance of the production department of Pottuvel Textiles PLC for week 41, and you have to suggest how future improvements could be made. So you have to tell, for good performance you have to give some points, and then for performance you have to give some points, and then you have to tell for the conclusion you have to tell whether they have performed well, whether the performance is poor, and how improvements are being made. You can tell in poor performance. So in poor performance, when you're writing about poor performance, in then and there itself, the next point you can give, they can improve like this, they can increase their like this, you can give some you can suggest future improvements in your poor performance evaluation. Did you understand that?
Yeah,
But
I understand that.
But what you have done is, when you have written the answer, you haven't written anything about good performance. You have, in first paragraph itself, you have written about poor performance, and in your second paragraph, you have told how they can improve. So after you have given a conclusion. So what I am saying is, you have to follow this order: first good performance, and then poor performance, and then a conclusion. Did you understand that?
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay, so what you can say is, for good performance, you can say workers of Pottuvel Textile PLC were not paid any wage when the power cut occurred, being sent home instead. So when the power cut occurred, they have not paid any wages, they have sent home. So you can tell this meant the total wages paid was lower than originally budgeted. Okay, so you can say this means that the total wages paid was lower than the budgeted figure. Okay, So that's a good thing, right? So because if the wages paid are low, then the expenses of the company will be low. So when the expenses are also low, the profits will be high, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now look at poor performance. Now in this paper, A part, B part, C part, everything, their performance is very bad. So in this evaluation part, poor performance will have lots of points instead of good performance, because we got the answer as in most cases we got the answer as adverse. So for performance, you will get lots of points. Okay,
Okay.
so you can say for poor performance. So for poor performance, what you can say is output of 2,484 for week 41 was 216 below the expected output of 2,700. So below this expected level, it was only 2,484. So that's a poor performance indication. And then you can say more material was used than was budgeted. So actual material used, actual figure was more than the budgeted. So you can say the material usage variance was adverse by this much, and then you can say this may be because the workers were poorly skilled and low quality material were used. That's why the material usage variance was adverse. Okay, and then you can say Portugal Textile PLC may have to improve training, or they have to recruit higher skilled workers. So when the workers are highly skilled, their efficiency will increase, and then they will perform well. And when they are, trained well, then also they will perform well. So you can tell like this. So these are the improvements that they have to make, like they have to improve training, or they have to recruit higher skilled workers and all that. And then another point, what you can say is, you can say the price paid for some of the material was higher. So the price paid, that was higher than the budgeted figure. So you can say that, and then you can say that's why the material price variance was adverse by this much, by 190 pounds. And then you can say, however, we do not know the reason for the rise in price. So now the material price was higher. Actual material price was higher than the budgeted. So we can say, however, we do not know the reason for the rise in price, because it's beyond the control of the company. Okay, so the supplier will increase the price and sell the materials in higher prices. So it's not the control, it's not within the control of Portugal Textile. It's out of their control, it's beyond their control. So they do not know the reason for the rise in price. Did you understand that part?
Yeah, I understand that part.
Okay. Future budgets may need to reflect this higher price. So you can say that, and then you can say the higher price may be due to the, you can say maybe, okay, you can say the higher price is maybe because the world market price of material, poor performance of the purchasing department, okay, and then you can say the purchasing department may have to improve their performance in the future. Okay, how they can improve the how they can improve their performance. So how is that? You can say they could make a contract to buy with fixed future prices. So when the prices are fixed, then even when the market changes, they won't change the price because they have agreed with a fixed rate. So you can say like that. You can say like, they could make a contract to buy with fixed future price, like that. Okay, and then you can write about labor efficiency variance. You can say, moreover, labor efficiency variance was 683 adverse. In the 39 hours available to labor, they did not produce the expected quantity of dresses. Production was 67 units short of expectation. So you can compare what's the difference, and you can say there were 67 units short of expected quantity of dresses. And then you can say the adverse wage rate variance of 77 was due to the overtime. So even the wage rate, even the labor rate variance was adverse. So you can say it was due to the overtime being worked, and the labors were paid at a higher rate than the normal hours. Okay, so you can tell that. And then you can say overtime may have been worked due to the low efficiency of the workers. So now when the workers are not efficient, then they will, then they will not produce a quantity of product within that time. They will take more time to produce that product because they are not efficient, they are not specialized, they are not highly trained, they are not highly skilled. So they have taken overtime. Okay, so they have taken more time to produce those dresses and all that. So that's why the wage rate variance is adverse, because when they work overtime, they will pay a higher rate, okay, for the overtime being worked by the labor. So the wages will increase. So that's why the wage rate variance is adverse. So you can say like that. You can make the point long, and you can explain in your own words. Okay, and you can say overtime may have been worked due to the low efficiency of the workers and because of the time lost due to the power cut. And another reason is that it's because of the power cut also. Did you understand all that now? Do you have any doubts until this?
Yeah. No, no, I don't have any doubts.
Okay. Perhaps Pottuil Textile PLC need to install their own backup emergency generator or change power supply if possible. So you can say like they have been the disadvantage is that the power cut has occurred, right? That's why the laborers took overtime. Plus they were not highly skilled or trained, so their efficiency was low. So you can say for the power cut, you can say they may need to install their own backup emergency generator, or they have to change the power supply if possible. So you can give those evaluations. And for other points, what you can say is you can say perhaps the production department did perform well, and it was an unrealistic budget that resulted in adverse variance. So the budget was unrealistic, so that's why it resulted in adverse variance. And then for conclusion, you can say the performance was poor. Okay, because the good performance had only like 1 point and explanation, but the poor performance had so many points because there were so many adverse variance. So you can say in conclusion, or you can say finally, if not, you can say to conclude, the performance of Potterville Textile PLC was poor. All four variants were adverse. Okay, you can tell like that. And then you can write the power cut does not fully explain the shortfall in production. But then action needs to be taken, which may involve a change in management. Okay, that's the conclusion you have to give. If not, you can give your own conclusion. You can say to conclude the performance of Potterville Textile PLC was poor because all four variants were adverse, and the management should take steps to correct this and improve the business. Okay, so you can give a conclusion like that. Did you understand the whole answer now?
Yeah, I understand the whole answer.
Okay.